when we were finishing our negotiation, they called us to São Paulo to meet in person and this stuff. And when we got to the meeting, that was like the CEO of the company. That was one of the heirs of McGraw-Hill, which is the owner of S&P, which owns Capital IQ. So I was like, well, yeah, that's really big.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the B2B SaaS podcast. I'm your host, Upendra Verma, and today we have Alexandre with us. Alexandre is the co-founder and CMO of a company called Klooks. Hey, Alexandre, welcome to the show.
Hello, Pedra. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to talk to your audience. It's a great pleasure.
All right, Alexandre, let's try to understand, right, what you do, right, what Klooks does, and like why customers are paying you money. What's the product all about?
Great. Well, we are specialized in a very specific problem. Long story short, we are very good on taking financial data out of PDFs and images and turning it into explorable data that you can use in different analysis, like credit analysis, investment analysis, statistic models. So basically, what we do is we take data from balance sheets and income statements out of PDFs and images and turn that into verified high quality data to be used in analysis.
Got it. And so, what exactly do you sell to your customer? Is it the software that you sell, or is it the processed data that you typically sell? Talk about the product there.
Great question. There are two things we sell to our customer. We combine that skill with data mining. So we mine financial statements that are public in the web, and then we extract the data out of the PDFs and make the data all beautiful and verified, and sell that to distributors abroad. So Bloomberg gets our data, Moody's, S&P, and these guys they sell it in what we call our wholesale. So that's like a data as a service model, a DaaS. But we also sell the financial spreading service. So, well, a bank needs to spread a lot of financial statements every day, and they can send it to us, and we give it back to them, spread it in the model they use, in the standard they use with their file. If they use a JSON or TXT, or if they use an Excel, we customize everything for the banks in order to use that data in their analysis.
Got it. And talk about the second part of it, right? So is it more like a service thing, or do you sort of sell the software here exactly?
It's more like a service thing.
Okay.
For one specific reason. There's no way to spread financial data nowadays with current technology with the quality that banks need in credit analysis. So you can do it automatically with an OCR or something like that, but it's not good. It doesn't get as good as they need. So what we do use the OCR. We OCR, optical character recognition is the technology used to read images with texts. So we use the OCR, we extract the data out of the PDFs and images, but we have a verification process, a quality assurance process done by trained accountants to make sure that everything is in order and everything is in the correct places in our deliverables.
Got it. Essentially, you use the software that you created for your own purposes. You use it internally to give banks the data that they really want. Something like that.
Yeah, we combine different OCRs to extract the data out of PDFs, and then it gets into our software and our quality assurance software. That's a proprietary software that we've done from zero. And we apply that to that data with a human labor to make sure that everything is all right, and send that to banks. And that's more or less a 3-hour time, a turnaround time.
Got it. And let's move on to your customers, right? So how many customers are you serving today across both of these, financial models that you have?
Looking for this service of
both of them,
spread?
both of them, and you can just give me a split, right? So how many customers you have got for both of them, so we can take that into
right. We have 3 products on the financial spread service. Might be more or less 15 banks, Brazilian banks, that are using it. We nowadays are focused in Brazil because it's our country, but the technology is usable for any language basically, and we do have banks that are in Brazil, but they send us files in other languages and from their other branches. So that's more or less 15 banks in Brazil. And well, when we talk about our DaaS, our data as a service, where we send financial data in our wholesale. Might be 6 or 7. But we have a SaaS as well. It's a platform that you can access financial data of Brazilian companies, and that's more or less 50 clients.
50, is it? So let's just give me an approximate sense, right? So I definitely want to deep dive into SaaS because that's what my audience are looking forward to here. But just in terms of approximate revenue that you're doing across these three, models that you have, right? So just give me an approximate split, right? So where are you in terms of, how well is your DaaS working, how well is your SaaS working, and how your services model working? Just give me an approximate split.
Like a revenue breakdown?
Yes.
All right. Might be 50% DaaS, 40% our financial spreading service, and 10% our SaaS.
It's just getting started.
Much more clients. Yeah, our SaaS is much more clients, but the ticket is much lower.
Let's stick our conversation to just your SaaS product for now, right? So just talk about the origin story here, right? So how did you sort of start your SaaS, and just give a sense of how you got those first few customers.
Great. Our vision to start was to be a SaaS, right? So when we started, what we thought of doing was to be like a Brazilian capital IQ. That was the vision, right? Capital IQ at the time didn't have the data from Brazilian companies. It started having later on because we started selling to them on our DaaS service. But when we started, they didn't have, and then we thought, well, let's grab the data from Brazilian companies and sell that as a SaaS, and then we will get rich doing that. But it didn't work out in the start. We built the software and all the bots to get the data, and we've put that into a platform, but it lacked features. So we're just like exploring financial statements, and we didn't have the financial spreading tuned at that time. We thought we would have easily, but well, then we invested a lot. We tried to use to make like an automatic financial spreading, and then didn't work out. So we had only PDFs and a few accounts that people could explore, and we started to try to sell that. And we sold like 4 or 5 licenses. We could keep doing that, but it would take too long to make that work. So we just pivoted to selling it to other financial intelligence platforms abroad that didn't have data from Brazilian companies at the time. So we started as a SaaS, and then we pivoted to be a DaaS. And
so
then later on,
so just help me complete the story, right? So in DaaS deals that you typically do, right? So how much do these external platforms pay you? So what sort of a deal size are we talking about? These 6, 7, big platforms, companies that use you.
In our DaaS service, basically we have more than 100 bots mining financial statements of Brazilian companies in many different sources. Brazil has a lot of different sources. It's different from other countries that have like centralized financial statements from private companies. The private companies in Brazil, they just publish the financial statements like everywhere. So you must have like specialized bots to make that work. So we did that. And we are like a data hub for this financial intelligence platform, like Capital IQ or a Bureau van Dijk. Bloomberg gets our data as well. TTR, LexisNexis. We have
my question is just give me an approximate sense of how much Bloomberg pays you to sort of get this data from you.
I don't have that right now, but
so I'm just looking for approximate ranges. Is it $10,000 deal? Is it $100,000 deal per year? What are we looking at?
Might be like $20 per company per year. So let's say I find 25,000 companies a year. That's more or less my volume. Then you can do the math.
Okay, that's a lot of money. All right. Yeah, keep on going. So you pivoted to DaaS, and then what happened after that?
So we turned into like a DaaS company because it would be easier to fund and to grow. I mean, we could go to venture capitals or to investors and grab data and sell them our SaaS model. But we didn't want to raise capital. We wanted to do it on our own. We wanted to bootstrap. So the way to finance it more easily would be to make the DaaS service, because that was like a low hanging fruit. They needed the data. There wasn't much clients, like not like 1,000 financial intelligence platforms around. But it was low hanging. It wasn't very scalable, but it was low hanging. So that's where we directed our efforts. And it worked very well. They really wanted and needed that. And it was effectively a low hanging opportunity. But it wasn't that easy to get to this guys at that point because we were very, very small, like we were starting and trying to build something that didn't exist. But there's an interesting story there. Our first desk client was Capital IQ, and that was really fun to explore.
How did you sort of convince them to sort of start using your platform? I mean, you guys like were known for them, right? So you're just starting out. So how did that work out?
Yeah, it started with a cold call. So I called them on their São Paulo office. And I was like, hey, can I talk to your director? They had like a director that would take care of everything. It wasn't like a specialized director of data. Here it was like more of a commercial office. And so I got to their director and said, hey, well, I'm from Klooks, and we are with this product. We have a lot of financial data of private Brazilian companies. I've noticed that in your platform, you don't have that. And then he was like, wow, really? You have that? I can't believe it. I really want it. But, right now it's not the good momentum to explore that because Capital IQ at this point is investing in Asian data and I wouldn't be able to sell that internally. So, well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll get back to you if that makes sense to us later on. And well, we hang the phone and I just thought, well, right, I'm never gonna hear from him again. But after 6 months, he surprisingly called me and I was like, hey, hello, oh, here's Pedro from Capital IQ. Do you remember me? And I was like, yes, sure. Well, it's great to hear from you. And then he said that at that point was a good time to start exploring Brazilian data because they were in the Latin American cycle of investing. And then after that, things just ran smoothly. But when we were finishing our negotiation, they called us to São Paulo to meet in person and this stuff. And when we got to the meeting, that was like the CEO of the company. That was one of the heirs of McGraw-Hill, which is the owner of S&P, which owns Capital IQ. So I was like, well, yeah, that's really important. That's really big. All right, cool. And that was it. Then we got Capital IQ, and then after that, it was easier to approach other clients.
And all of this, you were doing Bootstrap, right? So you were just doing it on your own.
Yeah, that was Bootstrapped.
And then go back, come forward, right? So I'm assuming you're doing a couple million or more than that in DaaS revenue today, right? So when did you decide to move to SaaS? Like, and what was the journey like? So when exactly did you decide, okay, enough is enough, let's move on to our SaaS and let's scale it? So talk about that story.
When we decided to move to SaaS, you mean?
Yeah.
SaaS was our first product, but then we pivoted and then we got back to it. Yeah. Actually, we never gave up of it because maybe we should have, because it kind of makes things late for us to keep investing in that. But we understand that when we find our scalability on SaaS, that's where we are gonna grow really really big. That's the best way of scalability once you have a good product. And we think that we are close to that. Not sure how close, but right now
you've got 50 odd customers on your SaaS platform today, right? So how much do they pay you on an average today? It's like how big of a deal size are we talking about here?
It's 2,000 reais more or less. It's in dollars, $400 more or less. Monthly. That's monthly.
Got it. And just so where are you getting all of these customers from? Like, so I'm assuming they're not from your DaaS platforms, right? So these are new customers, right? Who have different set of requirements. So where are you finding them? How are they discovering you?
Yeah, perfect. We have two channels.
Sure.
Just the basic. We are trying to do the basic well done. We do inbound and we do outbound. Our outbound front, we have an SDR, a sales representative, trying to hit the leads. So yeah, he once the lead is hit, he can send it to our closer, which usually closes the deal. And well, our SDR, he just prospects a lot of in LinkedIn, like searching for companies in our persona. And, he do the basics, like on LinkedIn, he gets the connections and gets in contact with people, but he also rehits, older leads that came to us, but didn't close at some point in the history. And our inbound sales, well, that's pretty much SEO and our newsletter. Actually, our newsletter is our main inbound
So how big of a
model.
newsletter are we talking about? How many subscribers do you have on there? On,
We have like 6 or 7 thousand subscribers, but like that usually open our newsletters that we are sending
yeah.
them like regularly. It might be 3,000.
So like, when did you start building this newsletter? Like, was it a personal thing for you? Let's talk about that newsletter journey.
Yeah, we in the start we did a lot of outbound, right? So
Yeah.
I was like sending emails and getting contacts on LinkedIn, and made a lot of outbound sales. Um, it was quite new for people, so was interesting, and they would be interested on giving me their contact, so I could get in contact later, and so on. Once we had like 500 people listed and already in our outbound sale that went in our outbound sales process, then we started doing the newsletter, and we would feed our newsletter list with our outbound sales effort. So I would make a prospection in outbound sales. I would get the contact of someone. I would ask him, "Oh, can I put you on my newsletter mailing list?" He would say, yes, and then I would put him in
So
our
you
in
would
our mail.
reach out to somebody who's like, who you never know, right? It's a cold lead, and you would strike a conversation with them. And if they're not ready, you would ask them to sort of, can I put them in my newsletter? And then that's how you ended up building the newsletter, is it?
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Okay, that's wonderful. And like you mentioned, $400 is what they're paying you on an average. Is it like per month or per year? Like,
That's a monthly fee,
okay,
and the contract is yearly.
got it. Right. So like, just talk about the bottom of the funnel, right? So once somebody discovers you, right? So how do you convince them? How do you convert them into paying customers?
Perfect. Usually, we know the personas that convert.
Mhm.
So we have some sort of people that we know. Well, this guy is hot. Well, this guy might not be that hot. So we would put much more effort on the hot ones, right? That we know that he is in our persona. Once we get the guy in our persona, we need to validate if he's in good timing to signing, if he has the budget, and if the guy I'm talking to is the guy that decides. So I'm talking to an analyst that won't have the right level of decision making to sign something. I would try to escalate to his manager before getting to our closer. So that's the job of our SDR. He
Mhm.
hits the lead. He gets in contact with the manager, which decides. He validates that the guys have a budget, and then he sends it to our closer. And in this process, of course, we try to show them all the value of our solution.
Mhm.
So we work with data, right? So
Yeah.
it's not that difficult to show the value of it.
Mhm.
The difficult part is to prove them that they will use that data regularly. Not only gonna be curiosity, like he signs to because he's curious of something, and then he uses three times, and he gives up using it, and then that's a big problem for our CS team. Then
Mhm.
our customer success needs to reheat this guy and find out how we can use the platform regularly, and so there is this job of
So
convincing them that they're gonna
how
use it
long does it
regularly.
take to sort of close this? Like, how long is your sales cycle today on an average?
Uh, I don't have this number. It varies a lot. Sometimes some guys come and say, "Well, I want to sign," and okay, let's sign.
What's
And
the typical
sometimes
number?
it's
Is
like
it
6 months.
is it months, weeks? Is it quarters? Like, how does that look like typically?
The regular cycle might be 1 month and a half or something like that,
Yeah.
from getting to the lead, finding the decision making guy, validating budget, and showing all the organization that they're gonna take advantage of the platform. That might take 1 month and a half, more or less. But right now, we are doing a lot of things integrated with Chat GPT, and some present automatic presentations. They use Chat GPT on their backend. Um, and that's helping us to convince them much more on the value of the platform and how they could use that regularly.
Got it. Like just help me understand it, how you're growing, right? So exactly 12 months before today, how many customers you had on your SaaS platform?
We had on our platform, in our SaaS, it
Yeah.
was 25, 30.
Yeah.
So
You
we
almost doubled
doubled
something like
our,
that.
sorry?
You almost doubled something like that over the past
Yeah,
12
yeah,
months.
almost doubled. Yeah, that's right.
Got it. And then can you just help me quantify, right? So in terms of your outbound versus inbound, where are most of these people discovering? Is it just 50-50, or is there any split there?
I think that would be 60% outbound, 40% inbound. But the inbound lead, it comes more prepared. He's
Yeah.
already hitting. So he already received a lot of newsletters. He already went into our blog and read a lot of stuff, and he already knows what he wants. So it's a shorter cycle to close it.
Mhm.
The outbound might take longer, and the outbound a lot of times it just goes to our mailing list and keeps receiving our communications.
Got it. So I was asking about your churn, right? So how have you been able to sort of keep your customers, right? So basically, like you had 25 odd customers like 12 months before, right? So how many of them still use your platform today?
Yeah, we had a churn problem in it was 1 year ago. We had a lot of churns happening,
Mhm.
and then when we didn't have um, a CS area structured, so we started to structure our CS process. And well, it took a little time to understand what was the problem, why were the guys churning, and how to mitigate that. We got a lot better, but still we have some churn
Can you
on our
quantify
side.
that? Like how does that look like?
It's
So
five ten percent
you
yearly.
had around 30 odd customers 12 months before, right? So how many of them still, use your platform today among that 30 odd cohort?
Yeah, from those 30, I five or six churned,
Got it.
and we've put other 30 on, so it might be like 50 somewhere now.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh,
So yeah, Alexander. So what one last question, right? So what's the vision here? So where do you see your company going in the next 2 to 3 years? Like what's gonna happen now?
we are doing a lot of effort on data mining right now. We basically our tech team is fully dedicated on data mining because we have a lot of financial statements lost in the web from private companies, and we are not getting it yet because they are in really hard to find sources, and for in this environment of financial data in Brazil, we are definitely the most advanced company on that. Most of our effort is on that. And even though there's a lot of financial systems we're not getting, so we are putting a lot of effort on that. So that's going to be our midterm vision
Yeah.
for the next 12 months. That might be what we're going to do. But after having a lot of data, it might be wise to extract intelligence out of it. So the integrations with ChatGPT and verifications on what ChatGPT does because he makes mistakes and all this cycle are gonna be our effort after that probably. Extracting different sort of analysis, making automatic credit analysis using it and using credit models, um, creating different analysis for investment banks and consultancy firms like SWOT analysis and benchmarking analysis and all this stuff. All this automatically, we understand is going to create a lot of value and it's going to make us able to reach new clients.
Thanks, Alexandra. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Hope you scale your company to much, much greater heights.
Thank you, Pedra. Thanks for the opportunity. It was great talking to you.
Thanks for watching the B2B SaaS podcast channel. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel here.